Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome to another edition of eHeroes. Today, we're going low tech. Well, see the backgrounds, kind of low tech. But I have Angela Langlotz back with us for another episode. If you recall, she was on episode 14. Now this is episode 38, and we're going to talk about trademarks again. So welcome.
Well, thanks, Rob. You know me, I love to talk trademarks. In fact, I go live on my Facebook business page every day to talk about trademarks and copyrights. It's kind of my favorite thing to talk about. Well, not really my favorite thing to talk about like ever, but it's my favorite thing to talk about during business day. Let's put it that way.
I really appreciated the you've been taking the weekly videos and making it a theme for the whole week. So
I do that sometimes.
Like Dan Locke, and then you started going over and other stuff, and that's when some of your viewership really skyrocketed.
Oh, you know, when I go after people, when I start throwing rocks at something, whether it's, everyone thought I was throwing rocks at Dan Locke. I don't even know the guy. Okay. I never met him. But it was really funny. He actually opted in to my stuff. He wanted to like creep my stuff after I quote unquote went after him. I wasn't really going after Dan. I was really going after trademark bullies, right? Because I don't like these people that, you know, they get a trademark for this one little thing and then they use it to go after everybody else who uses it. But, you know, people do that a lot. I actually, I had, when I used to represent the firearms industry, I had a client that made holsters, and his holster brand was Viper. Now, remember car alarms, Rob? Remember when you had a car alarm and you used to have
Viper car alarms?
Yeah, you had Viper car alarms, and apparently Viper had a holster, branded holster, that you could put your car alarm turn off doohickey in. And so I actually heard from Viper. So Viper's deal, they were trademark bullies. Viper's deal was this: if you used any goods that were even remotely related to what they were doing, they would come after you and they would write you a cease and desist letter, and they would say, hey, we're going to shut you down unless you buy a license from us. So what they did was they actually used their trademark bullyhood. That's what I'll call it. They actually used their trademark bullyhood to, I feel like I should stand up, and I feel like the lighting is not so good, but I'm going with it. We're going low tech today. I don't have the studio lights on. I normally stand up to do my videos. This morning I'm sitting down, I'm drinking coffee. We're just cash here. It's Rob's birthday. It's great. Happy birthday, Rob.
50,
anyway,
50 is the new 60.
50, 50. It's your 51st year, begins today. Make it the best year ever. Anyway, so what they did was they used their trademark bullying to actually expand the empire of things that were covered by their trademark. Because when you get a license from somebody, no, strike that. When you offer a license to somebody, you are actually now using your mark on their goods. So it expands your trademark empire, right? So if I were to have allowed my client, which was a total no-go, non-starter, to get a license from Viper for holsters, they would have expanded their Viper trademark into firearms accessories. But what I told them was, nah, I don't think so. What I'll do is I'll just narrow the scope of the goods slightly and say it's firearms holsters. Now go away. Mm-hmm. And they went away. What could they do? They couldn't, you know, I wasn't going to be bullied. I don't like bullies. I stand up to bullies. So yeah, I just basically told them, you know, go away.
You know, I don't like bullies either. And you know, a few months ago, you helped me against a bully.
I did.
And, you know, I that was a nightmare.
Oh my gosh. I can't even believe
it was a time suck is more what it was, because the people just didn't understand anything about trademark law.
Well, not only did they not understand trademark law, they didn't even understand how the internet works. Right? I mean, it was crazy. It was so funny. In fact, didn't you have another client? You had a client.
In fact, an attorney.
Yeah, an attorney who was accusing your client of stealing their advertising for their Google AdWords. But what they didn't understand was that because your client and this guy, the guy that was accusing your client of using his AdWords, because they're in the same niche, Google knows that when somebody searches, this personal injury attorney, well, they may just want personal injury attorneys in general. So we're going to serve them up a whole bunch of personal injury attorneys.
And then, after we explained to them how the internet works and that we weren't using their name in any way, shape, or form and negative keywords or anything, they came back and they said, well, that's great, but could you use our names in negative keywords so that when your ads get served, ours doesn't pop up?
And you're like, no, I'm sorry, that's not my job. Talk to Google.
Yeah. And so what would have happened, and they're trying to bully all the other attorneys in their area to do the same thing.
Of course they are.
That when someone is searching for that attorney, nobody's ads are showing up except that attorney. Which,
well, of course, wouldn't we all love that, Rob?
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all love to hog the internet?
Right. So it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Exactly. Yeah. People are, and attorneys, it's really funny because attorneys are some of the worst marketers out there. They're just awful. And you can't talk to them either. I don't know how many attorney clients you have, but bless you for taking us on, right? Not only do attorneys not understand how the internet works, they don't understand how marketing works, right? So, sometimes you'll get an attorney client and they're just nightmares to work with too, because we're kind of arrogant, like as a group, doctors are too. So we're not the only ones, but, they breed that into us at law school, like here's your daily dose of arrogance. Take some more. No, you need some more. No. And they do it. It's worse in medical school though, because they're like, you're not quite arrogant enough to cut anybody open. Here's some more. Have some more arrogance, You're going to take that scalpel in hand.
And they rip those emotions out of you so that when you start to talk to people, they're like, what? No, they're not caring at all.
Are you talking about the doctors or the lawyers?
Both of you.
Now, you know what, though? If you ask my clients will tell you I absolutely love talking about their businesses. Like, I really care about my clients' businesses. It lights me up to talk about their businesses. In fact, sometimes when my clients call, they think they're going to talk about their trademark. Oh no, man, we go dive deep into their business, right? And I'm like, well, you could do this and you could do this. And, there's this cool web tool out there that'll help you do this. And they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And so actually, I'm going to start offering business coaching services late summer, early fall, because people have been asking me for that. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you just gave me like, $1 billion worth of value. And here, I thought we were just going to talk about my trade.
Well, you've done more, I think, in the line of marketing than most attorneys will ever do in their lifetime.
Isn't that pathetic?
and that's putting those videos out there every single day. And, I've watched over the last year, not only have your videos gotten better, you're comfortable behind the camera, and more people are gravitating to what you have to say. And, your sales are increasing and I can see that, you're generally happy about everything that's going on. And now you want to produce more because you can see the response.
Well, it's that. And it's just fun. People don't believe it when I say this, but live video, we were just talking about this, you and I, this morning before we turned the camera on. Another attorney that's fabulous at video is my friend, Jerry Oginski. I adore Jerry. He has got such a great personality and such a great presence. And if you're kind of an outgoing person, you'll just love doing video. And I love talking about trademark law. And I know I'm not actually interacting with people on the live video because I'm kind of an in and out, like, I shoot myself figuratively, not literally. I shoot myself and then I'm done, right? And people can react later and I interact with them later. But, some people do these live videos where it's like, oh, I'm waiting for people to show up. No, nobody wants you to, no. Please, girlfriend, boyfriend. No, don't do that. So I like to just shoot mine, And then, you know, people can ask me questions or respond, or, you know, ask for a follow-up video if they don't understand what I'm saying. Because, you know, sometimes I take these complex little bits of information and I try to distill them down into like a bite-sized chunk, right? That's like
And
consumable.
if the listeners out there don't know who Jerry is, I interviewed Jerry a while back. But also, you know, go to his YouTube channel. He's got over 3,000 videos that he's made over the last 10 years. And if you think about it, it's, you know, 300 videos a year, about,
Yep.
you know, one a day. Doesn't take you, you know, that much to, you know, much time to put these things together. But imagine 3,000 videos out there as your 24/7 salesperson, you know, and, you know, it's just giving people massive amounts of information that they can glean from and then decide whether or not you're the person that they want to hire. And so these videos that I do, these interviews, help, you know, entrepreneurs figure out what they want to do. You know, Angela putting out her videos, you know, people get to see, you know, what a trademark doctor does, what, you know, what a copyright is, or patents, or how do you protect your intellectual property. And, you know, so you start to learn the process, you know, and that's great. I encourage everybody to do that. But with you, Angela, you know, once somebody contacts you from your video, what's the process that you take them through so that they finally get their trademark?
Well, when they first contact me, frequently they don't really know what they need, because there's a lot of confusion about, okay, what does a trademark protect, what does a patent protect, and what does a copyright protect, right? So what I do is I send them to a 9-video series. I know it sounds excruciating, but you can watch them in less than 15 minutes, right? So because they're about 10 they're about 2 minutes long, right? So, and the videos just go through really quickly, like, okay, here are the trademark basics. So I call it my trademark basics series. So what I do is I take them, I use video, because, you know, that's my thing. I use video to take them through, you know, here's the intellectual property basics, because they need to know what they need to know, right? They need to know, do I need a patent? Do I need a trademark? Do I need a copyright? And they're not going to know that unless they kind of get these questions answered first, right? Once they do that, there's another video in the series that's me talking about the trademark process, right? Like, if you need a trademark, I should actually make one for copyrights too. But if you need a trademark, here's the process, here's how much it costs, and you know, here's the timeline that you can expect. And I love the video because I use it whenever people ask me, how much does it cost? Because it doesn't do me any good to tell them how much it costs unless I also tell them why. Because then they'll go, oh, well, you're more expensive than LegalZoom. Yes, I'm more expensive than LegalZoom. I tell them this, and here's why I'm more expensive, because you actually get a trademark at the end of the process instead of just paying LegalZoom to do what you could do yourself. I mean, if you wanted to screw up your trademark application, you don't need LegalZoom to do it. You can do it yourself, right? Because all LegalZoom does is they do this thing called an exact match search. So what LegalZoom does is they go in and they say, if this exact mark isn't in the trademark database, we will file this trademark application. So what happens is they file the trademark application, but because they didn't do a good search, what happens is it doesn't come up with all of the trademark conflicts, right? Because other people's trademark rights extend beyond their exact goods and beyond their exact mark into anything that's confusingly similar and to any goods that are related. Unless you know what goods are related, and unless you actually do a search that is meant to extract the results about similar trademarks and about goods that are related, you're not going to get a search that's even useful to you. But you still paid LegalZoom anyway. But the problem is consumers don't know. So when they don't have the information to make a good decision, all they can do is go on price. And that is exactly the wrong way to shop for legal services. So what I'm trying to do with my videos is actually give consumers, legal service consumers, the information that they need to make a good decision for themselves, right? So that they can avoid wasting time and wasting money.
Oh, and plus the fact that, you know, if these people constantly ask you the same questions over and over again, it's just going to waste your time. So it frees up your time by creating these videos, these educational means of inspiring them to kind of do some homework on themselves,
Yeah.
Before they, you know, hire you. But it also, it helps to pre-qualify them and gets them to shell out, I can't say more money, but they're more trusting to the process.
Yeah, I'm asking people to spend, you know, 4 figures with me. And so I need to make sure that, number one, they're willing to spend 4 figures with me and that they trust me enough to spend 4 figures with me. I'm in what I like to call a high trust occupation. In other words, you are not going to hire me unless you trust me first. And Rob, I think you'll agree, there's no better way to build trust with your audience than to have them watch you on live video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you make the mistakes on live video. There's no edits.
Right.
Everything that you say, do, flinch, you know, everybody sees it, but it, you know, it makes you more human.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm not perfect. You know, I make mistakes in my live video all the time, as I'm sure Jerry does. No one holds it against him. They realize, listen, the camera's on, it's in your face. You know, and depending on how comfortable you feel in front of the camera, I'm totally comfortable in front of the camera at this point, as is Jerry. Jerry is fabulous in front of the camera. And, you know, yeah, I say, okay. If you were my speech professor, maybe you'd be throwing the blackboard eraser at me. But as it is, you know, we just put up with the occasional and, you know, we all have our little verbal tics. And sometimes when I watch my videos, I go, ugh, I got to stop saying that. But I continue saying it nonetheless.
I there for a while, I was watching a lot of my videos and I'd go through and I'm like, wow, I use the word so a lot.
I do that too.
And,
So.
and I'm like, then I'm trying to make a mental note. I get to the next video and I do it again. And I do it again. And I'm like, whatever, I don't care.
I say, so, and okay. That's my way of telling you I'm about to say something. I can't just say the something. I have to go, so.
So there you go.
There.
What was one of your most popular videos?
My most popular video was the one I did about the trademark bullying with Dan Locke. So that video, I think, is up to 5,700 views now. It got a ton of likes, it got a ton of shares, and everyone thought I was going after Dan Locke. Like I said, I don't even know the guy, you know, excuse me. I'm having a live camera moment, drinking coffee, and yeah, this is what it's like doing live video, folks.
We're not going to end that.
Pull out the hanky.
Yeah, it'll become a meme, and then
there you go. I'll become a meme. Please don't make me into a meme, Rob, with my tissue up at my nose. Anyway, people thought I was going after Dan Locke. I don't know the guy. I don't have any reason to like or dislike him. I was talking about trademark bullying, and this example happened to fall into my lap. And since he was such a prolific trademark bully, it made for some really good video. And I spent the whole week talking about trademark bullying and, you know, what rights do you have when you actually get a trademark application on something called the supplemental register, because it limits your rights, and, you know, things that people can do about trademark bullying and how to handle it. And it was I thought, a really great video series. And the sharing that I got from that one video was pretty next level. It was pretty epic.
You
and
know, I like that you take a lot of modern examples, you know, and some of them you have up on your wall back there, you know. And you use those in your videos to help people understand the process.
Yeah, so let me just get a couple of them here. So this is one of my favorite brands, Brillo, right? And I use this to talk about suggestive trademarks. Sorry about the reversed camera. Can't help it. Yeah, so Brillo is actually a really great suggestive trademark. It's a legacy brand, meaning that this brand has been around for almost 100 years now. I think this is their 75th anniversary packaging. But I love it because I love the suggestive nature of the Brillo trademark. I've talked about that before. And you know, I really love, 100 years, this is their keepsake box, Rob. I'm trying to keep it pristine. It was underneath the sink, and then I promoted it to the bookcase because I kind of wanted to keep it pristine. But doesn't it look like you're making cleaning fun with this?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I use this to talk about suggestive trademarks. And then this is a Coke in a real glass bottle. It's from Mexico. You can buy a Mexican Coke. It's made with real sugar, and it's in a glass bottle. But I use this to talk about shape as a trademark.
Mm-hmm. The iconic shape of Coca-Cola.
Yeah. So this distinctive bottle shape with the fluting, and the fluting on this isn't actually very deep. This is like kind of a cheap bottle, I guess, without the fluting. But remember in the 70s and 80s when we had glass bottles?
Yeah.
You could actually have, they were pretty,
I'm old now.
they were pretty deeply fluted. And so the fluting is actually part of the shape. And if you look at their plastic bottles now are shaped more like what the Coca-Cola bottle used to be like. But I really like this glass.
You know, Coke, Sprite, they had a whole bunch of bottles that were very iconic to those brands.
Mm-hmm.
Pepsi tried it just with Pepsi, but a lot of their other brands, they just don't have. I mean, all the plastic now is all looks the same, you know. So it's like, you know, people just don't. They don't know.
Yeah.
They start coming out with this new stuff, thinking, you know, but it's very similar to what it was, you know, 50, 60, 100 years ago.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the Toblerone. Let me get that if I can.
Yeah, I think that one is the only chocolate bar that's in a triangle.
Yeah, so actually this, so you can see the shape of this Toblerone bar is actually a trademark. It's actually a registered trademark of Toblerone. And it's interesting, they have actually registered a trademark, not just for the packaging, but they've actually, so when you open this up, there's the chocolate bars, and they are divided into little triangular chunks. Mm-hmm. They actually also have a registered trademark for the way the naked chocolate bar looks. So wow. They've registered not only this sort of triangular package, but they've also registered the triangular chunks. Now, here's something interesting. Kit Kat. So I think Kit Kat is owned by Mars, if I'm not mistaken.
Kit Kat, I think, is owned by Nestle, but licensed to Hershey.
Okay. I can't keep up with all of it, right? Yeah. But they tried to register a trademark for their, you know, their kind of lozenge shape. So they have this square bar mm-hmm. with the lozenge shaped dividers. And they were actually denied a trademark registration for that because the trademark office said, look, that's obvious, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to do that, it's obvious to have a chocolate tablet that is divided into more discrete parts. That shape is so common, everybody uses it, that it's not distinctive. It cannot serve as a trademark. Now, the difference between that and this is that they're the only people using this, right? Because remember, trademarks have to be distinctive. So if your iconic triangle shape is distinctive, that can serve as a trademark. But if your tablet of chocolate with breakage points, that's not distinctive. Everybody does that, right? Hershey does that with their chocolate bars. And so if we were to grant Kit Kat that trademark, it would mean that no one else would be able to do that. And we don't want to prevent other people from doing things that make sense in the marketplace that are useful, right? So this is more than useful. It is useful, but its usefulness is incident to its design choice, right? Like they could have used anything. They could have used the tablet. No, they intended to make this part of their distinctive Toblerone brand in this triangle shape.
And I'm sure that the print that's on the packaging is also trademarked.
This Toblerone logo likely is trademarked. We say registered. People say
Registered.
trademark. That's not really what we say here in trademark land. We say registered. Yes, I'm sure it's registered as a trademark. I haven't actually looked, but this packaging likely has several trademark aspects on it. So we've got the shape of the packaging. We know that that's protected by a trademark registration. We've got the Toblerone name. We know that's protected by a trademark registration. And then we have this distinctive logo, right? So there's two aspects to this word mark. One is the design of the word itself, which is called a design mark. Sometimes we call it a logo, but it's technically called a design mark. So we have this distinctive lettering. So you also see it on Coca-Cola, this very distinctive lettering. So you have the Coca-Cola word mark. No one else can use Coca-Cola, but also this iconic lettering here, no one else can use that on any product.
With Coca-Cola, I noticed there's actually a Coca-Cola font now you can get on, computers. Is that protected, or is that anybody can use it?
Well, copyright's a little funny. You can't actually protect fonts by copyright here in the United States. You can in some other countries, but the copyright law explicitly excludes fonts from protection. Okay.
Wow.
If you wanted to protect the underlying computer code for the font, that is protected. So there's copyright's weird. Copyright's really weird. But when we're talking about fonts, if they're distinctive, they can serve as a copyright. There's also some aspects to parody. So there are, you can see T-shirts that have the word cocaine on them in the Coca-Cola script. That's parody. Okay, so there's a lot of aspects to that. That's kind of a lot to go into right now. But what I was talking about when I kind of took a sidebar, I do that, was the trademarks that are on this Toblerone packaging. So we talked about the shape, and we talked about the word, and we talked about the way the word is rendered, which is the design aspect of the word. And then we've also got, I don't know if you can see it here, I'm going to zoom in on it, but do you see, I'm trying to angle it here so you can see it. That is a mountain, and there's actually a bear design in that mountain. And I think that is also a registered trademark, that mountain logo.
Wow.
So it's kind of interesting. People think sometimes that, and here's the company name, the producers of Toblerone. Apparently it's owned by a company called Mondelez International. That is also registered as a trademark. So you've got that on the back too. Let me see if I can, it's reversed, but you see what I mean there. So you can actually use more than one trademark on any given packaging. Think about, for example, Nike. They use various trademarks on their goods. If you have an Air Jordan shoe, for example, you will have the Nike swoosh. That's a registered trademark. It's a design mark. You'll have the word Nike, which is a word mark. And then sometimes you'll have the model of the shoe, like Air Jordan. That's also a registered trademark for shoes. So you can use a number of different trademarks to designate the source from which the goods come.
Wow. So if you're a company like Disney that has millions of characters and products and brands, you got to have multiple trademark attorneys working for you around the clock just to make sure everything's protected.
Yeah, big companies like that have whole IP departments that not only register all of their marks, but they have a whole compliance department that will go after. Their job is, they do all day. They go after people that violate their trademark. So if you use a famous mark like Disney, anything related to Disney, any of their characters, anything like that, you're going to have Disney. Who owns Disney now?
Disney.
Really? Because I thought they were owned by I don't know, some big media conglomerate. I can't keep track of all.
Disney
There's so many
bought
mergers.
Fox. Disney bought
Oh,
Marvel.
okay. I forget
Disney
who
bought
bought who.
Star Wars. Yeah.
But yeah, they have whole compliance departments that do nothing but go after people who violate their trademarks. So they are very diligent about, you know, keeping track of all of that. And they have to be.
My dog just came in my office.
I wondered what you were doing, Rob. What are you doing? Are you giving treats to the dog?
No, he's going to get into something if I don't watch him.
Yeah.
He's 11 years old and doesn't hear too well.
Especially when you tell him no, right? Nobody likes to be told no.
And, you know, he can come down into my office, but then he doesn't want to go back up. He just doesn't have the energy.
Aw, you have to carry him.
Yeah, you know, but, you know, this is, you know, one thing about trademarks is that I'm sure it's very confusing to a lot of people. But, you know, those that are listening, you know, go back and listen to episode 14. Coupled with this one, go to Angela's many website, Facebook, and she'll give you those in a minute. But listen to what she has to say, because, you know, I could spend days, probably weeks, years learning all of this stuff. But, you know, I want to run my business. I want to hire people like Angela to do the work. And, you know, although I find it fascinating, you know, I'm just not in a position that I want to do it myself.
Yeah, people screw up this stuff all the time. They go, oh, how hard can it be to file it? Oh, filing it, that's the easy part, right? It's the doing the search and figuring out if there's a conflict. That's the hard part, and that's what people trip over all the time.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, when people trip over that, it wastes a lot of money and a lot of time. People don't realize this, but you're not even going to hear back from the trademark examiner for 4 months. Okay. So during that 4-month interim, here you are, la, 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 merrily investing in this brand that you're going to find out in 4 months you can't register because there's a conflict out there, and you've wasted the filing fee. So I like to joke, just stand on the front porch and light $100 bills on fire, you know, just waste the filing fee, right? But you don't get it back. There's no do-overs. You can't, once you file the application, you can't go in and materially alter it. You know, so if you filed the wrong thing, if you've misspelled it, if you've, you know, you can't, there are no do-overs. It's one and done.
Yeah. So I mean, even using services like whatever the LegalZoom.
Yeah. Legal rhymes with
and you spend the money and give it to them. It's not always done right.
No.
So might as well, if you're going to spend the money, get it done right, and get it done right the first time.
Yeah, I like to tell people, listen, if you want to screw up your trademark, don't pay LegalZoom to do it. You can screw it up on your own for free. Just pay the filing fee. You can screw it up on your own. You don't need them. You don't know how to do a search. They're not going to do a search either. It's all the same. So don't bother.
So if you guys don't want to screw up and you want to get it done right, contact Angela today. Angela, how can they learn more about you?
Well, they can find me online at trademarkdoctor.net. Or you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/trademarkdoctor. Or you can find me on YouTube. Just go search Trademark Doctor on YouTube. I'm everywhere.
Or you can, you know, like I said, go back and watch episode 14.
Sure.
Listen to episode 14.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to thank the audience for listening again. And, you know, this is Low Tech Day. I got my ugly shirt on.
I love it.
You know, it's just another glorious birthday. So I'm a year older today. So,
happy birthday, Rob.
So enjoy. Thank you for listening. And go see Angela on her various trademark information places. Yeah. So anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next episode of eHeroes. Chat later.